And in today's Real Estate Nuggets, Rental Housing Index finds more BC renters are spending crisis-level amounts on housing. New home prices see their first monthly increase since August 2022, and federal nuclear regulators say dangerous levels of radiation in and around homes in Elliott Lake, Ontario, not their problem. So first from the CBC's John S. Peary. BC has the highest proportion of renters spending more than half of their income on rent and utilities in Canada, according to new data released on Monday. The latest edition of the Canadian Rental Housing Index, a database of rental housing statistics developed by the BC Nonprofit Housing Association in partnership with Vancity, looked at data from the 2021 long-form census and found a substantial surge in rental costs since the last census in 2016, says the BC NPHA. That's a long sentence. The increase over those 5 years was most acute in BC, which saw a 30% increase in average rents. 30%. Nearly 250,000 of rental households in BC pay an unaffordable amount for housing, with 30% or more of the total household income going towards rent and utilities. And within that group, more than 100,000 are paying over 50%, which is described as a crisis level amount. You don't say. The research found 11% of renter households in BC were living in overcrowded conditions, where the highest numbers were found in Surrey at 24%. There's really just a lack of space for new people to live, and they squeeze in weird ways to make it work, said Johns von Bergman, a Vancouver-based analyst who looked at data around housing demographics and transportation. Von Bergman has been collecting rental data from online listings for years. He says there was a dip in rental costs at the start of COVID-19, but they've been rising ever since. Ignore my dog in the background. All right, where were we? Rising ever since. He says that rent for a one-bedroom in Metro Vancouver averages $2,200 to $2,700 depending on location. One bedroom, $2,200 to $2,700. It really is at a crisis level, Gerstein said. We need all hands on deck around this. Next up, new home prices see first monthly increase since August 2022. Rising construction costs have led to the first monthly increase in new home prices Canada has seen since last summer. According to StatsCan, the new housing price index saw a slight uptick in May, rising 0.1%, the first month-over-month increase since August. National price growth can largely be attributed to increased construction costs in Quebec, Calgary, and ta-da, Kelowna. These census metropolitan areas saw new home prices rise 0.9, 0.8, and 0.6% respectively month over month. New home prices have been falling across Canada since May 2022 as high interest rates continue to weigh on market activity. According to the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, there was a 64.1% annual increase in unabsorbed inventory in May. And usually I like to keep my real estate nuggets to things that impact Kelowna or BC, but Kelowna specifically. But this one was too good to pass up. From reporter Marco Ovid at the Toronto Star, federal nuclear regulators say dangerous levels of radiation in and around homes in Elliott Lake, Ontario, are not their problem. Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission, the CNSC, says homeowners are responsible for dealing with the toxic effects of waste rock from nearby uranium mines that was allegedly used as infill on their properties. The CNSC posted a statement on its website and Twitter feed Tuesday in response to recent media attention around the radioactive waste first reported by Investigative Journalist Bureau and the Toronto Star. In the statement, Ramzi Jamal, CNSC's Executive Vice President and Chief Regulatory Operations Officer, said his department is only responsible for radioactive substances associated with nuclear energy production and their transportation. The materials in question were never chemically processed. They were simply broken up and moved a short distance from the place of origin, Jamal wrote. This waste rock is naturally radioactive at levels consistent with the region. It was not subjected to any processes of the nuclear fuel cycle. For these reasons, CNFC staff assessed that this waste rock consists of naturally occurring nuclear substances that are outside of the CNSC's regulatory authority, he added. One of the homeowners said that's drivel. Now, let me just jump down a bit here. After dangerous levels of radiation were discovered in houses in Elliott Lake in the 70s, the mining companies paid to have fans and venting installed in dozens of homes to funnel radioactive radon gas outside and dig up at least one driveway to remove contaminated rock underneath. The CNSC says homeowners who received these radiation mitigation systems signed contracts at the time in which they agreed to be responsible for the long-term care and maintenance of these radon mitigation measures. But retirees who moved to Elliott Lake in the 1990s and 2000s say they weren't told about radiation, these contracts, or even the purposes of the fans when they bought the affected houses. So, are home inspectors in Elliott Lake going to start carrying Geiger counters? Let's see. Anyway, I'm Byron Armstrong at Remax Kelowna Alchemy Real Estate Group. This has been Real Estate Nuggets.